Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 473 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm here with Emily Harman. Now, this is not the Emily Harman that's the tennis coach at West Virginia University. And although she played basketball for the Navy, she's not the Emily Harman that's currently at Veritas Collegiate Academy in Chesapeake, Virginia. This is the Emily Harman. And she loves pottery, she loves watercolor, but she spent 38 years in the Navy, and now she's out there screwing the commute and going to give you great tips on handling your life, because she's had some ups and downs that she's going to tell us about, and she's overcome, that can help you in both your personal and your business life. So we'll have her on in a minute. All right, I hope you didn't miss episode 472. This was an iPhone and Android tip episode, which I have them every once in a while. I don't really have an Android, but most of the things an iPhone will do, an Android will do. But I just can't stand when people are fighting with their technology instead of making products and selling things. So if you get a little bit better all the time handling this stuff, you can spend the bulk of your time making money and a lot less time fighting with the technology. And while I'm talking about that, I might as well tell you about my automation ebook. This is something that's allowed me to handle 150,000 subscribers and 65,000 customers without pulling my hair out. And we give it to you free. We sell it for $27, but for listening to the show, you can download it at screwthecommute.com/automate free, screwthecommute.com/automate free. And I will just say you're welcome right now, because if you do even a portion of what's in this book, you're going to thank me. And while you're over there, pick up a copy of our podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP, where you can put us on your cell phone and tablet and take us with you on the road. Now, how would you like me to send you big checks or PayPal or gold bullion, or if I even knew how to do it, cryptocurrency? I don't even know how. We're glad to do that in our affiliate or referral program. So if you'd like to know about that, just email me at tom@screwthecommute.com, and we'll give you details on how you can make big commissions by referring our stuff. All right, and the last thing before we bring Emily on is I'm really excited and proud about the program I'm running to help persons with disabilities get educated and get hired or start their own business. So I have a GoFundMe campaign for scholarships for these folks, and love if you could help out. Any little bit helps, but if you're really flush with cash, you could actually sponsor a person yourself. I kind of equate it to, getting your name up on a library or a park bench or something where you've really helped change the life of somebody. You can check that out. Of course, this will all be in the show notes at imtcva.org. That's my school website, /disabilities. That's plural. At the top, there's click the GoFundMe link, and you can see some of the people that are already in the program, and they're progressing nicely because of the generosity of all the folks that have been helping. And also, we're going to use some of the money to hire folks with disabilities to help run the program. Then the big picture is, once I prove the concept that I can get these people hired or in their own business, I'm going to roll it out really big for foundations and grants and help loads of people. It's one of my crowning glories on earth, is to help other people. All right, let's get to the main event. Emily Harman's here. She's a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy. And Emily served her country for 38 years, and that's hard to believe because she doesn't look like she's more than 30. So I don't know. You're not supposed to lie when you're in the military. But anyway, we'll have her on in a minute. And she was a naval officer, and Emily's coaching now is focused on helping men and women create a life they love living while achieving new heights of authentic success in their personal and professional lives. Emily, are you ready to screw the commute?
I sure am, Tom.
After 38 years in the military, somebody's ready to do something. Oh,
Yeah.
boy. Well, it's so happy to have you on here. I know I met you on a podcast mastermind, and I was kind of sheepish to tell you I turned down an appointment to the Naval Academy because I don't think I'd have lasted too long jogging to class. But anyway, thanks so much for your service. We really appreciate all the people in our military. We actually have a September is Veteranpreneur Month, so we'll have lots of folks on in September. But anyway, tell everybody what you're doing now, and then we'll take you back and see how you came up through the ranks.
Okay, that sounds great. What I'm doing right now is I'm a personal life coach, and I really enjoy that. I help because my last job was in the area of government contracting. I was a contracting officer for the Navy, and I was also the head of small business. I help small business owners also who want to do business with the federal government and want to create a lifestyle business. And I also help men and women who just, want to create a life that they love living. And part of that, in my mind, is not having to commute, is creating a lifestyle business. And that's what I'm doing myself. I'm not a billionaire yet, like your last guest, though.
Well, maybe if you'd, I was thinking about starting my own missile company or drone company, and you could teach me how to sell them to the
right.
And then you can become a billionaire. No trouble. Now, I know you're relatively new to knowing me, but I have ragged on life coaches, and if you hear dogs in the background, we have some rescue dogs here, and my protection dogs, somebody's at the door, so we're going to just forget about them.
So you've ragged on life coaches. Life coaches have helped me change my life in the past 2 years.
No, what I ragged on were people that never did a darn thing in their life and want to be your life coach.
Oh,
That's
I see.
what the problem is there's so many people see, it's easy money. I just talk to people and get rich. And a professional person that's actually lived a life, then when we get into it, you've really lived a life. That's a different story.
Yeah.
So what I'm afraid of is a lot of the legitimate life coaches get lost in the shuffle of all these ragtag people that are just trying to ruin the industry. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's true. I can understand that. And I'm actually in a certification program, which some people might say, well, you don't need to be certified as a coach. You have all this life experience, but I'm really finding this certification program worthwhile. And by February, I'll be a International Coaching Federation certified coach. And the training is awesome. And I really highly recommend anyone looking for a coach to work with somebody who's either in the certification program or already certified.
Well, yeah, and that's showing professionalism and learning your craft and going deeper and deeper. Nothing. I wouldn't expect any less from a 2-star admiral, which is you're one of the sixth graduating classes from the Naval Academy. Is that correct?
Right. My
women,
class,
female.
We graduated in 1985. We were the 6th class of women, and I retired as a senior executive, which is I was the equivalent of a 2-star admiral as a civilian, and my last job was the director of the Office of Small Business Programs, advising Navy and Marine Corps senior leadership on how to create more opportunities for small businesses to do business with the federal government.
Yeah, but that's cool. But what I want to know is as a level of a 2-star admiral, can you just jump on a ship and say, hey, let me drive for a little bit?
No.
No, why not?
You have to have the training, just like a coach has to have the training.
Geez. Now, were you allowed to take Pearl to work with you?
No, my dog. Actually, I did sometimes. I couldn't sneak her into the Pentagon, but I had an office at the Navy Yard, and I took her in sometimes, especially on the weekends when I had to work. But sometimes on a Friday, my dog, he came to work.
Yeah, but I don't think your dog has the work ethic that you had, because you haul her around in a backpack, instead of making her walk.
Yeah, she slept.
So now tell us about this Onward movement that you're involved with. Is that's got some military connection, onward and upward, or gung ho, or what?
No, it really doesn't. So after working for the Navy for 38 years, and when I that time counts as my 4 years at the Naval Academy, and then 7 years active duty, and the rest as a civilian. And I also was a naval reservist for 13 years. So anyway, you add that all up. I retired, and I called my retirement a graduation. That was in May of 2019. And I called it a graduation because I felt like I was graduating onto the next phase of my life and to bigger and better things. And everyone kept telling me what I should do. You should go be a consultant or you should go work for a small business or a large business that does business with the Navy and the Marine Corps. You should. And I was like done with doing what other people wanted because I'd raised my kids and they were finally out of the house. It's like, I want to do what I want to do. But then something happened that really, and what I wanted to do was host a podcast, which I do, and then be a coach. And then something happened, which helped me figure out what I wanted to coach about. And what happened
are you going to keep us in a surprise or what?
Well, what happened is after I retired, within 3 weeks, my daughter called me and she said, Mom, Dad has cancer. And my kid's dad was 63 at the time, and he lived 5 more months and then he passed away. And after about 2 weeks after he was diagnosed with cancer, he became paralyzed in both of his arms. And I helped take care of him, even though we had been divorced since 2000. But I helped take care of him. My daughter helped take care of him. And even though he had been verbally abusive to me and my children, I just saw him die with regrets. And I decided I do not want to die with regrets. I want to create a life that I really love living. I mean, I enjoyed working for the Department of the Navy, but did I love commuting to work? Did I love going into work every day? Did I wake up every day and say, yes, I get to do this? Not all the time. And so that's when I decided, it was just hit me really hard about how short life is and watching my kids lose their dad.
You're kind of an angel on earth, because I don't know, if it was me and he couldn't use his arms, I'd have beat the heck out of him every time.
Yeah, it was really hard to see him that sick. And some people have said that, yes, because, he wasn't the nicest person.
It probably brought it on himself. Yeah. Either karma or just all the bad stuff that happens to you physically when you're mentally messed up.
He had a lot of stress, and he had anxiety, which, at the time in the late 1990s, we didn't really have a term for that, I don't think, as much. But whatever, I have his files at my desk, and a whole bunch of them are on retirement and what he was going to do when he retired. And he never got to do that. And because he just kept working. And so I decided I'm going to create a lifestyle business. And the Onward Movement is all about people that join that Onward Movement want to release the fear of judgment, what other people say about them or what they should do, or their life decisions. Release that fear of judgment and create a life that you love with confidence. And that's what the Onward Movement's about. There's about 1,400 people in my Facebook group, and I post a lot of free content in there. And then I also have some coaching programs for people who want to go deeper into that.
All right. Yeah. And we'll talk about them, but I'm interested in the mechanism, because you've been known to say, when I became an empty nester and had time for myself, I realized I didn't know how to dream. I didn't even know who I was. Yeah. How did you find out, or did you?
I worked with coaches because what I thought is I knew that I was busy. I was somebody who was very busy all the time. I kept going, trying to achieve the next thing. I'll find happiness with achieving the next thing. None of that ever really brought me lasting happiness. I never really celebrated any of my accomplishments. I always was moved on to the next thing. And then when it came, I finally had time to dream about what I wanted to do. It's like, I don't even know who I am anymore. And what do I like? I've been so busy that I don't even know how to feel. If you ask me what I'm feeling, I could tell you happy, sad, but I mean, that's about it. I couldn't name my feelings. So, and I thought that my busyness would go away once I retired and I had a lot of free time. But what I discovered is that I became even busier than I was when I worked for the Navy, because that is one of my saboteurs. It's a hyperachiever, restless. And I've learned that in a mental fitness coaching program that I was in. These are like my saboteurs in my brain, that you have to keep achieving. If you achieve the next thing, then you'll be happy. The next thing, then you'll be happy. And I was really surprised actually to realize that I didn't slow down when I retired. And so I worked with coaches to better understand the habits and the patterns in my life. And I actually came to realize that just like my son, who's 28 and been sober for 5 years, just like he turned to alcoholism to avoid some of his feelings, I didn't know this, but I didn't realize it, but I turned to busyness to avoid my feelings.
Well, it's
and my
easier on
pain.
your liver, but
Yeah.
it might have the
Yeah.
same deleterious effect.
Right. So I learned I didn't know how to just be, like to just sit and enjoy the present moment. I really didn't know how to do that. And I had to work at it and better understand myself and the different layers and patterns that had been ingrained in me. And I think that the hyperachieving started when I played basketball as a young kid. I was the leading scorer in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. And after every game, my dad would say, "Great game. Now, you remember that time when you went right, you should have gone left." And so I took that in, and I was always trying to improve and do better and never really congratulate myself for the fact that I scored 40 points in that game.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's a tough thing because, a lot of people, myself included, want to use the Japanese concept of Kaizen, continuous improvement,
Yeah.
but you can take it too far, I guess, is what you're saying.
Right. And I did that. And so, it's sometimes, how it's easy to look at somebody else and see some of their issues or problems or challenges, but it's a lot harder to look at ourselves and notice what we really need to work on. And that's why, working with a coach to help me with that. And now I'm able to, instead of being in like push energy all the time when I started my business, like push, I've got to find clients. I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm in more flow and I'm more in the present moment. And when I'm in a better flow state and I have a vision and I have a goal, but I don't like press to get there, I don't have to work harder to get there, things just start to happen that take me towards accomplishing that goal without having to push.
And also, having been through this, it makes you an infinitely better coach than a lot of these schmucks that are out there. I'm saying.
Yeah, I think so. Just having been through that, having been a single parent most of my career, having gone through what I did with my son for 10 years with his alcoholism and my daughter with her anxiety. I have a lot that I can give back and help others.
Well, there's one stressor that I'll bet you don't even realize that I noticed just from studying you from afar before this interview.
What is it?
Wearing a totally white uniform.
Yeah.
I couldn't eat anything ever again if I had white on. I never wear white. I wear black all the time. That way, you spill this on it, no problem. How do people get by with wearing white all the time?
I know, even white shoes that we had to polish. You always have a clean one in the closet, a clean uniform with you. And if you go on travel, you always bring another one.
I saw you shaking hands with Ronald Reagan. I mean, what if you had just spilled, ketchup on yourself?
Couldn't have done that. That was graduation day, shaking his hand. That was pretty cool. He was supposed to only shake the hands of the first 100 graduates, and that would not have been me. So he stayed and shook everyone's hand, turning from left to right to left to right. For
amazing.
1,200 people.
Amazing. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful story. Never heard that before. So, So tell us more about how your training and positive intelligence and your mental acuity can help people in their business.
Okay. I'll start with this mental fitness coaching. I ended up taking this mental fitness coaching program that's taught by Shirzad Chamine. And he wrote this book called Positive Intelligence, Why Only 20% of Teams and Individuals Achieve Their True Potential. And I enjoyed the program so much. It's a 6-week program that I ended up coaching it myself. And now I'm getting certified in it and getting trained by Shirzad to go even deeper into it. but I do coach it now. And it's basically, there's an assessment you can take, which is on my website, Emily Harman, HARMAN.com, that will tell you what your top saboteurs are. And what Shirzad says is we each have a judge saboteur, and the judge judges circumstances as either good or bad, or, terrible, great. It judges other people and it judges ourselves. We're all familiar with that inner critic. We're not always as familiar with how much we judge other people and situations. And then that judge will go and recruit one of our other saboteurs. My top ones are hyperachiever, restless, and pleaser. I tend to have a people pleaser saboteur. Notice I don't say I am a hyperachiever or I am a people pleaser, because that would be commanding to the universe and saying that's what I am. I say I have a hyperachiever saboteur, and they reside in the left side of our brain. It's kind of that reptilian brain, so something happens, we get laid off from work and the judge says, this is bad, and recruits our victim saboteur that, tells us how worse it even is. And it's kind of like leaving our hand on a hot stove, where, our saboteurs cause all of our stress, our anxiety, our pain. And the longer we leave our hand on that hot stove, the worse it gets. So how do we catch ourselves and switch to more of the right side of our brain, to more of a sage response, to getting curious? I lost my job, but maybe that's not bad, because maybe now it's the time that I can create my lifestyle business. Maybe it's not bad, because maybe something else better will come along. Let's not all of a sudden say it's bad. How do we get curious? And I've led a couple of groups of people through this. I've just started coaching in it. And one woman's a business owner in the federal government space. And she told me she was so stressed from her company, finding clients and just all the things of running a small business, that she couldn't sleep at night. And during the entire 6-week coaching program, there was only 2 nights where she didn't sleep through the night. And on each of those nights, she was able to get herself back to sleep much quicker than she normally would have. So it's a way to help. That program's a way to help know yourself better, and to, switch out of that saboteur mode, which causes all of our pain and discontent and unhappiness, and switch to more of a sage side, which definitely helps when you're running a business.
Well, yeah, and the sleep, I used to do a program called Sleep is Overrated, because I thought people were sleeping their life away, but I've changed my attitude about it, because there's just too much science that says that you're kind of screwed if you don't get enough sleep. And of course, everybody's different on the total amount that they need, and I guess it varies with age, but stress and sleep don't really go together, that's for sure. So to boil that down, if people could use this mental fitness to reduce their stress about life in general, they'd be able to make better decisions in their business. And you know what? You said people got fired. Most people, I don't have any studies to support this, but I've talked to tens of thousands of entrepreneurs. Most people will say that when they got fired, it was a disaster, but afterwards, it was the best thing that ever happened to them.
Yep. So, Shirzad tells us, and I think he's right, you can find a gift or an opportunity in any life circumstances. So the sage response is to, what's the gift or an opportunity in this, instead of focusing all on the negative. And so, physical fitness is something we all know if we're out of shape, if we try to climb a big hill and we're breathing heavily. The mental fitness, is harder to notice, except for if you're under stress a lot. You don't have to be under that stress. This program will definitely help with eliminating that stress and changing your mindset. And, I used to think, well, this is just how I am. It's in my DNA. I get stressed over these things, or I am I used to think I am a hyperachiever. I can't change it. We can change things about ourselves that if we make an intention to do so.
That's for sure. Now we got to take a brief sponsor break. When we come back, we'll ask Emily what a typical day looks like for her nowadays, and how she stays motivated when she's not under the the gun of being in the military, which I went to ROTC for Air Force or something, and I think they kicked me out of that for not shaving my beard or something. I don't know. It wasn't really cut out for it, but I can't imagine the stress that goes with that. So folks, yeah, I just want to bring back up again. I'm not going to talk about my mentor program or anything. I'm just totally enamored with the thought of helping these people change their lives. People with disabilities have 3.7 times the average of depression, 4 times the number of suicide attempts from the normal regular population, and the highest level of unemployment in the past 7 years. So I know I can do something about this, especially with your help, because my school not only allows them to study from home legitimately, it allows them to work from home legitimately. And I've been preaching this for 23 years. And if there's any silver lining with the pandemic, now the whole world knows you can work from home. It's like, oh, we can work from home. I never thought of that. So yes, you can, and so can they. For me to jump in the Suburban and go to 7-Eleven and back is 15 minutes. For a person with physical disabilities, it could be an hour, hour and a half just to get ready to think about getting in a vehicle and going to 7-Eleven. It's a 2-hour trip. They've been dealt a hand that many of us haven't, and so I'm going to do something about it. And whether you help me or not, I'm still going to do something about it, but I hope you decide that this would be a worthy thing to contribute to. Check it out at imtcva.org/disabilities. And you'll see the GoFundMe link at the top. Check it out, and if you think it's good, and please, even if you can't afford to help out, share the thing so that more and more people see it, and will really be helping some folks out. All right, let's get back to the main event. Emily Harman is here. She is quite a unique lady, equivalent of a 2-star admiral in the Navy, 38 years of her life dedicated to serving our country. And now she's serving it in a different way. Emily, what's a typical day look like for you? Do you have some kind of morning routine? What time do you get up? What do you eat? Exercise? The whole bit. What's it like?
Okay, Tom. Well, I don't like to set an alarm anymore.
Yeah, good for you.
I like to wake up when I wake up, which is usually between 7 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
What
a slacker you! What a slacker!
Yeah. Sometimes I set an alarm if I have a really, early meeting or something, but
Okay.
I try not to. And I do some meditation in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I have a journal where I do some journaling. I just spend some quiet time reviewing my upcoming day, touching base with myself and how I feel, making sure that what I'm going to be doing that day aligns with my values, and, making sure that I'm making decisions based on what I want to do, not on the people pleasing aspect of things. And so that's how I start my day. And I also have coffee. And for the most part, I go to the gym in the morning. Sometimes I might wait until the evening, but I work out every day. I belong to the local YMCA. So it depends on what classes they're offering, but I love to swim. What I recently discovered is Tai Chi, and I would have never been able to do Tai Chi before I graduated or retired, before I did some of this inner work, because I would have thought, this is boring. It's a waste of time. My mind would be racing to my to-do list. I wouldn't have been able to enjoy being in the moment, doing that slow moving Tai Chi. And now I love it. I love going to those classes.
Well, let me jump in here for a second, because I was doing a speech. No, I was actually wasn't speech. Yeah, I was taking some executive courses at Chinese University in Hong Kong a long time ago, and my sleep's all messed up for jet lag and everything. And I wake up and I'm looking out the window, and there's a bunch of people walking down the street carrying parakeet cages. And I'm like, am I dreaming? What is this? And they go out into this park that I could see from my window, and they put the parakeet down and they start doing Tai Chi.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I can see how that high achiever would have trouble with that.
Yeah.
scenario.
They're like, this is just, what are we doing? I don't even get it. And I don't have time for this. I've got a lot to do. In fact, I actually had a coach who I told her I wanted to slow down, but I don't know how I wanted to be, but I just don't even know what that looks like. And so she wanted me to do meditation for 15 minutes a day. Well, first off, she said, how much time do you have? And she had like in this online questionnaire, like 15 minutes all the way up to an hour. And the hyperachiever, Emily, wanted to say an hour. I can meditate for an hour, but I knew myself. So I said 15 minutes. And then I met with her every other week and she'd say, well, what day are you on in the meditation? Day 2. Well, why? You don't understand. I'm busy. I have a lot to get done. I'm starting my own company. I'm busy. She was patient with me. Finally, I did the 40 days and it changed my life. It changed my habits.
Wow.
I really realized that on the days that I meditate and do the exercise that she said, it's kind of like a moving meditation. It's not sitting still for 15 minutes, but on the days that I do that, my whole day goes so much better.
Oh, that's great. Hey, you still shooting any hoops?
No, my brother used to live here and I'd go shoot hoops with his kids and that was fun, but I had 2 knee surgeries, so I don't get out there and really play anymore. But that's my typical day. And I pretty much try to block Mondays and Fridays so that if I wanted to take a long weekend, I can do that. I love to hike. I go hiking. So every day is a little different, but I meet with clients. I host my own podcast called the Onward Podcast, which is all about facing adversity, moving forward, and discovering ourselves along the way. In fact, I've interviewed 3 people that are had spinal cord injuries, and one of them is my roommate from the Naval Academy's daughter, who's getting ready to be racing in Tokyo on the Paralympics.
Wow.
And cycling. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing her compete on video, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So what's your main source of motivation?
Self. I don't really have to. I have to kind of push, we were in that mastermind, we were talking about what are we going to accomplish this week? And my main thing is, what am I going to not accomplish? What am I going to not do? So I don't know where I think it comes from. My mom was always doing, always, had a lot on her to-do list. And so it's just kind of ingrained in me. In fact, when I look back on it, on my first few weeks of being retired, I would think to myself, I could go hiking today. It's kind of like, it's sad. It's kind of like, the baby elephant that's chained up and it doesn't realize that it can't get away. And then when it becomes an adult, it still doesn't realize it could just get away. Yeah. And that's how it was initially when I retired. It's like, oh, I don't have to be sitting at my desk 24/7. I'm retired.
Yeah, it's got to be crazy feeling. I mean, I can only imagine because I never had a job. But wow. Now, I would never refer to you at all as any type of elephant. So I'm glad you brought that up, not me. But but tell everybody how they find your stuff.
They just go to Emily Harman, HARMAN.com. And that's where you have information on my Onward Accelerator coaching program, which helps you really get to know yourself better, maybe find your passion. If you're thinking, I want to screw this commute and start your own business, you might want to do some introspection first and get to understand yourself better. I think the better we understand ourselves, the better leaders we are of ourselves and other people. So that program link is in there. So is my mental fitness coaching and just the link to join the Onward Movement Facebook group and to listen to the Onward podcast.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thanks so much, Emily, for coming on. Quite a unique lady you are. And again, thanks so much for the service to our country, which just is over the top. I wouldn't expect anything less from a high achiever that can score 40 points in a basketball game. But, all right. Check it out, folks. Emily Harman, HARMAN.com, and check out all these great things and get your mind right, get your on a path in your life efforts, and your businesses will thrive along with it. All right. Thanks, Emily.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, everybody. We'll catch y'all on the next episode. See you later.